whatever our life consists of, that's the legacy we're leaving behind.
Yeah.
So the choice is, do we want to leave behind a good one, or do we want to leave behind a bad one? Hey, it's Harry
And Carson,
with the Pillars Podcast.
real talk for real growth.
Let's dive in. Carson. Hey, man.
Here we are. Good.
Here we are again. And this is a good topic we're going to talk about because it establishes, helps us establish a vision for something that we want to be, what we're remembered for.
Yeah.
Establishing a legacy. What is that all about? As a father, how do we establish a legacy as a man and a father?
I think that's just a lifetime. I mean, that's life's work.
That's life's work. Amen.
That's
a good word to say.
And what man doesn't want to leave their legacy behind?
Yeah.
Right? Or I'm sorry, a good legacy.
Good legacy. Yeah. When you said that legacy, all of a sudden
We're all leaving one.
We're leaving one some way, because whatever our life consists of, that's the legacy we're leaving behind.
Yeah.
So the choice is, do we want to leave behind a good one, or do we want to leave behind a bad one? A bad legacy then puts a burden on everybody. It puts a shame, a mark, it doesn't put a good mark. It's a negative and a weighty negative feeling, and
kind of like how they remembered them as how they know you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And when you have that good legacy.
You're a Robinson.
Yeah.
Your dad was a freaking,
Yeah. And you know what, that. You earlier when one of our other shows, you talked about the fact of, I think we were just talking, and you were telling me about some people who knew your mom, and knowing your mom, they go, oh, we know your mom. And then the feeling that you get, it was a positive interaction with your mom, so that felt good for you.
Yeah.
Right? Same thing with my dad. I mean, if I went anywhere that anybody knew my dad, oh, you're Harry Robinson's son, and you get this, and boy, it feels good.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're saying, what if you go in there, it's like, oh, that's your dad?
Yikes.
Yeah. He was the one that did that thing that they all talk about, and like, oh, that's why he's not here anymore. That's a tough thing. And young, I know young men who have to live with that. My challenge with them is to help them to break that bond to that legacy that was there.
Going to be my next question is how do you, as a young man coming up, let's say your dad was in prison or something, how do you continue on making a good legacy and leaving that one behind, because it's not yours?
Yeah. Well, that takes into everything we've been talking about what it takes to thrive.
Yeah.
And what we talk about, what the essence of what a real man is. And then again, the foundations of the kind of communities that you participate in, so that you can understand your true purpose that you've been given from God, so that it disconnects you from something that is negative, that God says, I want to restore something that is positive for you in your life. That's a good question. And I'm always concerned about that, because we're going to talk about what it means to actually leave a good legacy from that. What if you're a man who wants to leave a good legacy, what are those things really, really based upon?
Yeah. What is good?
Yeah. And those things I would think based upon is having real, if I was to think about what I want to leave my kids and what I want them to know about me, and to know that this is a part of their life, is that we live a life of integrity.
Yeah.
That we show up as who we really are. And if we can do that, and you show up for how really you are, and you're living that kind of life, you're going to be making improvements.
Yeah.
You're going to, present yourself for how it is. And when you have standards that you've set in your life, and you are able to go, hey, I didn't achieve that, and I didn't achieve that because of this. And you have the right community of people around you who are inspiring you and encouraging you over the time frame of your life, that legacy, that standard of what people see is going to be a much higher kind of a standard.
I think 100%. It's what the people will see was, like you said, you show up honest and authentic, and that's what people are going to remember about you.
Yeah.
Harry was this, and that, but he was also a very authentic, genuine person.
And then a part of the other virtues that you want, wouldn't you want to leave a virtue of being authentic in a real way, of being having a kind, resilient personality?
Yeah, of course. That's like I think that's how everyone wants to be known.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that is important because you attract people. When we think about, again, what is the essence of a real man? What is his objective? What is he going to leave behind? We want to leave in our wake life.
Yep.
And whatever we do, I want people who come behind me that they want to follow that same thing. I want to offer life to these people.
That's so good. I'm thinking a legacy of life.
Yeah. It's in my AI imagination of building, putting together a picture of life after me, this pathway of just blooms of flowers and fruitful things.
And just awesome.
That you go by and just like someone who's hungry, they can take a piece of this.
Yeah.
Someone who wants to smell something fragrant, they can smell that.
Yeah.
Someone who needs a stable path, they're walking on that path. Someone who needs their light to be illuminated and lighted. There's a bright shining light that follows that. That's idealistically what we want to leave behind. But in order to do that, we need to understand what are those specific things that I must do, that I must show, that I must demonstrate in my life.
Hey, we're glad you joined us today.
If you're resonating with the conversation, hit subscribe and stay in the loop.
Got a question or a topic you'd like us to explore? Drop it in the comments. We're listening.
And remember, the Pillars podcast is not just about talking. It's about taking action.
Check the link for more. Like you mean the specific kind of virtues?
The specific virtues.
I think we both know. I mean, we pull those from the Bible.
Yeah. Yeah. We want to be kind, loving, gentle, patient, long-suffering with people. You think about, I think that being the nature of Christ himself, and we demonstrate those things to people. I was watching a show, and it happened to be The Chosen, and that's one scene. And then I was reading it in Matthew this morning, as a matter of fact, about if somebody asked you to go 1 mile, go 2. And that time where they had to go a mile with the Roman soldiers to carry their equipment, but the law was that they couldn't ask you to go 2. But Jesus said, go 2 miles with them. And you think about living a legacy in which you bring life and kindness and gentleness and long suffering,
endurance,
and you do this on the behalf of those who are your enemies, even.
Wow.
What kind of legacy would you leave behind?
That's like
something like that.
So powerful.
Yeah. And you change people's lives as a result of that. I was telling you the story before about the grumpy old man who lived next door to us. And we just, as a family, showed him kindness.
Yeah.
And in showing him kindness, where you thought he doesn't want our balls and toys thrown over his fence. If we playing baseball in the backyard and it goes over in his yard, we were not supposed to go get it, just leave it there. And he wouldn't even throw it back until the time after we just would be kind to him and do nice things and, help him out wherever we could help out. My mom would sometimes bring over some stuff to him and, because the wife was a nice woman and she'd bring do some kind act to her. And then this guy, not all of a sudden, over a period of time, is now receiving us.
Did you notice that difference, though?
Oh, too? Yeah. Because we would look into his garage and see all of his carpentry stuff, and we would be like, wow, look at what's he doing in there? What is he doing in there? Until the day he finally invited us to see. Yeah. And we were like, he told our mom that she's like, she's hesitant, like, no.
What did you told your mom?
he's going to cut your finger off, or he's going to do something really bad to you. But he was kind and he was gentle. And I think she went before and said, did you really invite them to come? And I guess she picked up the fact that he was, genuinely inviting us to come look at it. But she, of course, told, don't you touch anything. Don't you,
Yeah, be respectful and utmost. And
of course we were.
Yeah, I totally understand that.
But you live like that. There's a wake that you leave.
Yeah.
And you don't want that wake to be a tsunami. You want that wake to be a nice,
lazy river.
Yeah, lazy river thing where people are like, I'm safe in this. This is really good.
Yeah. Where there's that stillness, that moving slow. It's not tsunami. The tidal wave is destroying everything.
Yeah.
There's chaos. There's death. There's destruction.
I think about if we're thinking about leaving a legacy, we have to pay attention to the long haul.
Yeah.
We have to be looking.
Man, it's tough. I'm 20.
Further. Yeah. Yeah. Because what you're doing now and the pattern of things that you're doing now is creating what you're probably going to do consistently over time. You pay attention to that. You think about, okay, I'm going to have a son. What kind of man is my son going to be? And you're a husband, and your son one day is going to get married. What kind of husband is your son going to be? What is he seeing now that interprets for him? Oh, that's the kind of husband I want to be. And if you're thinking about that, and I want to leave that something behind, I want to leave life behind me. Mm-hmm. What do I have to do? Well, I have to treat my wife in a way that I want to see him treat his wife. I have to give him an example of working hard, being a diligent worker.
Right.
I got to give him example of being responsible, taking responsibility for things that go good and things that go bad. I've got to get back up when I fall. I've got to show resilience, because do I want my son to be a quitter and give up? No, I don't. I want him to continue to try even when things get difficult, even when things get hard.
You want to be a protector, provider, all those things that fall under it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, all those things that are the call that we are as men.
And personally, I think so far, because we have this huge age difference, and I love that it's like that, because it's like the contrast. You are already probably halfway through your life.
I might be more than halfway through.
Or more. I'm trying to be respectful here.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
This is where you're at, and you have had many years to leave your own legacy behind.
Yeah.
Whereas me, I'm off the starting blocks of life, essentially, as an adult.
Yeah.
And it's now my duty as a man. I am leaving a legacy behind. Mm-hmm. So I love to look at your example of life.
Yeah.
Because it's true. It's great to see what you've left behind, and the older men surrounding me in my life, what they left behind. And it really does affect me.
Oh, yeah.
Because I know young men, they'll look and see influencers or people in their life looking for male figures, whatever. They look to people like you, pillars of strength that have left this legacy behind. And I was drawn to that. Yeah. So I know that other young men will be too, because you see that, and then you see this pattern of sacrifice, of success, just everything that we talked about, and what it is to being that man of Christ.
And the importance of that is intentionality. The kind of what causes that to happen. I could be just living my life and just not being intentional about the fact that somebody's watching, and I'm going to influence them in some kind of a way. What kind of a way do I want that to be? I'm very fortunate. You as well. Your father, who's walking in a way that he wants to leave a better legacy behind now. My dad he did. He demonstrated for me with 6 kids that he's going to keep working hard. He worked graveyard shifts. He worked and went to school to get his nursing degree when he had 6 kids. By that time, I think he might have had 5 at the time, but 1 on the way. And he had difficult times. He had failures, but I never saw my dad quit. I never saw him give up. But I got to see him struggle, and I got to see him stumble and fall and get back up. And the one legacy I say of anything at all that he left of probably the highest degree, he left me a legacy of trusting God. I say that to my kids: trust God, trust God. And my dad died at 73, about 11 years ago. And I remember one time before he had died, I was at his house and I was working on a pipe. So it was leaking, and I just replaced it, and I was going to put something on it. It was pretty simple to do. And I couldn't get the pipes lined up to put in there. I'm struggling, and I'm on my back under the sink looking up, trying to do this. And my dad's sitting on a little stool there as I'm doing this, and I'm getting frustrated. He says, did you pray about it?
Wow.
And I'm like, Dad, it's a pipe. I can just, put it on. He says, son, you pray about everything.
That's so powerful.
And I thought, okay, Lord, help me put this pipe
right in there.
And I'm like, what? He says, son, you pray about everything. And that had been something that has been so significant in my life. Trust God.
Yeah.
So that's the legacy my dad left behind with me. And I think it's very, very important that we pay attention to that legacy.
I love that. And it makes me think of that passage of scripture. Don't worry about anything.
Yeah.
Pray and everything.
Make your requests known to him.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, great talking to you about these things. Let's leave a great legacy behind. We'll talk about more things to come.